Hello, everybody. Welcome to TrippyTimes. I've still not figured out my countdown. I apologize for that. Today, we are launching a new segment on the channel called Shifting Paradigms. And we have a guest with us today. You might recognize him from Chad Smith podcast as well as Paranormal Chop Shop. And he's been on a few other things. Good friend of mine, Spooky Morales, everybody. We're going to go ahead and bring him in. What's going on, brother?
Hey, how you doing, Josh?
Great, man. I appreciate you coming in here at short notice like this. So,
Oh, of
I know I
course.
spoke to you. Yeah, definitely, man. I spoke to you a little bit about this earlier. I felt really compelled to do this, and it's because I've had some really out of this world synchronicities here lately. I
Hmm.
just felt really compelled. And I gotta say one thing. It's happened with a few different people, but last night. I know I sent you a funny video last night where I had a little bit too much fun, to be honest. Last night, I had a buddy come over here, but yeah, a friend of mine came over. I've known this guy for a little while now, and found out last night he's an experiencer. I mean, just
Hmm.
blows my mind, and not like in the I guess the way that me and you were used to speaking about on these type of podcasts, but well, I will say his. I told you earlier he mentioned light beings, and he's never heard of Chris Bledsoe or anything like that. And he's telling me this story, and I'm just like, wow, I sent him a link to Chris Bledsoe's interview from Richard Dolan, and he was just blown away. And he said that what was described by Chris sounds exactly like what my friend experienced with his grandfather after he passed away. And I mean, it's just fascinating. He's a younger guy, and it's happened with a few people, but it just got me, feeling like this younger generation. It seems like they're a lot more open and accepting to, I guess, the this new age that we live in. And I
Hmm.
call this shifting paradigms for a reason. I know I spoke to you a little bit about this earlier, and we're not going to be like focusing so much on the more paranormal aspects like we normally do. I mean, of course we will a little bit, but more about just like the change that's happening with society today. It's a little understated, but I think for people like me and you, it's really obvious that there's something huge going on in the world today. And
Oh, yeah.
even these experiences might not even realize it. Like a lot of people might not even realize they're experiencers. And thank you for everybody who's in the chat right now and everybody who's going to be joining us. So how are you doing, Spooky? And I gotta ask you, man, how do you feel about this new segment that's starting on this channel?
Oh man, I love the segment. The idea, sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes I think that we'll come up with some of the best theories and discussion if we just do some last minute spur of the moment scheduling, even though the audience may not be prepared for it. Right now with the way YouTube and Twitter, and we're able to push out really fast when we're about ready to go online, and those that are available, we welcome them, we love them joining us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
But
I'm sick of these
your last couple interviews were really, really good, Josh. I wanted to make sure that I let you know that the Terry Lovelace interview and the interview with Wayne and Michelle from Michigan Paranormal UFO was
Yeah.
outstanding, man. Really, really well done.
Hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, and Wayne, the paranormal, there in the chat right now, and so the Enzo, a
Hmm.
few other people. Yeah, I mean, this is all happening so fast. I didn't even plan on making a podcast a few months ago. It's just something I, I originally, just jumping on the podcast, talking with other people and meeting people like you. I mean, I've met so many people in the past year that
Yep.
I mean, I feel like y'all are all family. That's the only way I can explain it. I'm sure you notice when I get into a lot of the chats, I'll say, "What's up?" like cosmic family or some crazy stuff like that. That's the way I really feel, man. Like I feel like we're all in this together. And I see Chad Smith is in the podcast right now. What's up, brother? I was going to try to get him in here, but I think he's working tonight.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, definitely, man. So as far as the younger generation and that like are a lot more open to this. How do you feel about this, or why do even the ones that might not be aware there's obviously something bigger going on, like something that probably we can't even wrap our heads around if we try to. But why do you think it is exactly that it seems like this younger generation is a lot more open and accepting to
I
this
know.
type of stuff?
I know there's always going to be, conspiracy theorists that are going to say that, Hollywood has been going through a slow indoctrination and a drip disclosure for the younger generations as they grow up, so that when they do find out that we're not alone in the universe and here on Earth, of all places, that it's not going to be the biggest surprise, and people will be more accepting and willing to take it on.
Definitely, man. And I mean, I totally agree with that. And I want to say, I've kind of got to the point where I don't necessarily want to say the word alien because I feel like it's so much more than that, really. I mean, you know that last year, the beginning of last year, I was still a little bit of a skeptic, even though I had experiences before, and then I had like undeniable experiences. But I like started, realizing it was real, and then really quickly I had to jump past the nuts and bolts. And that's no offense to anybody that's in the nuts and bolts phase, but I think if I'm sure that there is some things that are just nuts and bolts, possibly
Yep.
just, things just straight up from another planet or just technology. But if you get into this, and or, I mean, I don't know how to say it, but there's to me, it's really obvious that there's something so much more just bigger that we can't wrap our head around. And I feel like that's why I feel like there's some kind of link between whether you want to call it paranormal or supernatural or whatever it is. And you hear like this younger generation talking about 5D reality and things, and some of these people that are talking about this 5D reality stuff, they don't even know about like the extraterrestrial UFO phenomenon that's going on, but they're still like aware to this whole 5D ascension type thing. I mean, like, what do you think about that? I just got to ask you that.
The first thing that came to my mind was how a couple weekends ago I watched that movie, The Eternals, the Marvel movie.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. I'm a huge Marvel fan, by the way. Yeah,
Man, I could not believe the storyline that they had in there, talking about so
they're
many
planting
different.
seeds. Yeah,
I mean,
sorry.
that right there that is exactly the thing that I'm talking about when I talk about the
Yeah,
Hollywood. I mean, for me, growing up watching the X Files, you know, uh, all the science fiction, Steven Spielberg with Close Encounters and E.T., those types of things. I mean, Steven Spielberg had Jacques
oh yeah,
Vallée
download.
as an
Yeah.
advisor, right?
Yeah, I just found that out the other day. I watched it and didn't even know it. I had to go rewatch it just because of that. And the God, who's the Project Blue Book guy? Hynek. Was that
Alan
actually
Hynek
Hynek in the
was,
movie, or was that somebody else that looked like him?
yeah,
I
he
know there was
wasn't, he
somebody
was,
else standing.
he wasn't in the movie, but he was an advisor. He was somebody that helped them with, telling the story.
Okay, did you notice there was a guy that looked like him in the movie though, like a
Hmm.
stand-in actor for him? Yeah,
Yeah,
I rewatched that movie. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
they did that intentionally, no doubt.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, he had the mustache and everything.
Mhm.
Um, so I got a question for you. By the way, everybody who's in the chat, me and Spooky talked about this earlier, but this was really something kind of spur of the moment, and this isn't going to be a long podcast. It's probably only be about maybe 45 minutes to an hour at the most. I know you got to go somewhere, but this is just spur of the moment. I wish I wrote down some notes, but I mentioned to you earlier. It feels like right now there is oh, I didn't say it quite in these words, but it feels like there's some greater presence that is making itself. Well, let me make sure I word this correctly. It seems like it's interfering, making itself known for a very specific reason. And in my mind, I feel like it's because if it doesn't, whatever this greater presence is, that we could, I don't mean to sound grim, but like could be reaching possibly the downfall of humanity. If something doesn't step in, I feel like it's because, and I don't want to say any names, but there's some kind of shadowy organization type, figures that have maybe manipulated world events or just pretty much try to keep people in check and keep people in control. And now I feel like it's gotten to the point where, and like I need to say this as well. I feel like I'm not going to put names on it once again, but whoever these dark figures are, they're manipulating these world events or keeping people in check, in fear and in control. I feel like what they've been trying to do is keep humanity separated from their spiritual nature. That's just my personal opinion. Um, and I feel like now, like something bigger is kind of stepping in, and trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. Do you agree with me on that? And by the way, it's just a
Well,
theories, everybody. I don't mean to offend anybody. Like, sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. I mean, this is, just to preface, this is just a all around discussion. We're not
Yeah,
trying to say that we believe any one thing or the other. We're just trying to just throw out theories and just talk, right?
yeah,
But when I go back and I think about all the great wars that we've had in the last, well, I wouldn't call them great, but the wars that we've had, major wars over the last few decades, people will say they've been about terrorism, they've been about religious, they've been about this and that, but at the root of most of the wars that we've had have been about oil. Who's going to get to control those oil fields and be dominant with the oil production? And the reason I bring that up is because all of our societies around the world are run off of this around this fossil fuels and oil. So
right.
they have to keep,
Property, yeah, right.
they got
Property
to
and
keep it,
yeah, yep,
right?
yep, definitely. Yeah, I completely agree. And hey man, I'm so sorry to do this. I know we just jumped on. I have somebody at the door, real quick. It's a
Yeah,
girl, I
go right
think.
ahead,
So,
man. I'll
yeah,
take
yeah,
questions.
let me. Yeah,
I'll take questions
I'll
from the
be
chat.
right back. Just a moment. Sorry about that,
What you got
guys.
for me, Chad
I'll
Smith?
be right back.
And please be kind. Who we got there? Tammy. Hello, Tammy. Cassie. Chris Jarvis. Let me see there. Carol, XO. Michigan, UFO. Wayne and Michelle, thank you very much. I love the interview. Chad Smith podcast. Making them bolts. For Merca. Stuart, thank you for coming. Enzo. Can always count on Enzo to be there. Who else we got? Got. I think that's about it. Hey, that's pretty good for spur of the moment. We love you too. I love you too so much. I really appreciate it. Your interview, I don't know, Wayne and Michelle. I think I might have told you this one time or another, but I was actually born in Detroit, Michigan, and yeah, I was only there for a few years as a little baby, and then they got me out of there. The family actually lived in Flint at the time, and Flint, Michigan used to be a lot different, of course, back then. But yeah, I still have family in Michigan, also in Ohio. So I feel like very connected to the people in that area still, even though I've lived on the West Coast for most of my life now. But yeah, let's see, Diesel Girl. Hello, thank you for joining. Who else we got? Awesome. Cassie, I saw Cassie today for the first time. I couldn't believe it. All I've seen is this little picture of her. But Cassie, it was so cool to see you. Now we're gonna be hungry to have you with us more on camera. We need to really, get the full Cassie. Too much information, yo. Thanks for joining, Wes H. All right. I feel that Spooky is my more mellow and softer side. Yeah, I'm doing all right. And now, there was a time when I couldn't say that I was mellow and softer. There he is. There's our host.
Hey, sorry about that, man. That company had to get them situated real quick.
We've
Uh,
officially we've officially done the roll call, so we're good there.
oh, really? I'll check out the chat. So, sorry, where did we just leave off at? Yeah,
You know what we
sorry.
should do, Josh, is we should take a question.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody in the chat have any questions right now? I figured you were taking questions while I was out there, to be honest.
Most people were just
Yeah.
saying hi, which I loved, but right now Enzo put up a question in the chat room. I kind of like that one.
Okay. Okay. Why do you guys think there's such a big push for full disclosure right now? Seems kind of sudden and fast moving to me. It definitely feels sudden. My opinion. What do you want to go first, Spooky? Because I kind of already stated
First
what I'm about to say.
First, I would say that Enzo is right in tune with the reason we started doing this podcast tonight. Anyways, that's the whole reason, because we
Yeah,
were talking about how disclosure is moving so fast, and what's the motivation there. I mean, for me, I anybody that's heard me talk on some of the other podcasts, they know that I lean more towards the spiritual side of what we're dealing with, and that I feel that mankind throughout the centuries and thousands of years have lost our spiritual side and our
exactly. Yeah.
connection to the planet, and how we are also connected to the cosmos. um, so I believe something spiritual great is coming, that's going to remind us about our place and our connection to the earth. I don't know what that is, and I don't know when it's going to happen, but I can tell you through my meditations that I have come to know that something is definitely coming, and something is coming at a faster pace than ever in our wave of humanity. But we know that this planet has been washed clean. Whatever the catastrophe that led it to happen, do I think that's going to happen? I think that it's something that we can stop from happening if we would get ourselves together as a species, and come together. Uh, but I just, as far as like specifics, I don't know exactly.
I mean, I think you said that just that was great. Really, you said it probably better than I could ever say it. And meditating, by the way, is something I definitely need to get into. I have ADD, so it's kind of hard for me to do, but I have done it, and it's got enormous benefits, you know. But God, you're so spot on whenever you just said that. I think about and once again, I don't mean to offend anybody. In this segment we're doing right now, you know, this is a lot about theories and just you know thinking about what may be going on, what it may be leading to. I think just like you were saying, I think that humanity's kind of lost touch with its spiritual nature, and I'm spiritual as well, you know. Uh, and for me, I try to kind of I like to try to bridge the gap between the spirit and the science, you know. And for me, and there was a word I heard earlier that I never heard before, and it was actually Whitley Strieber that said it. But it's almost like how like in Star Wars they talk about the Force, and I'm not even like a huge Star Wars fan, but I know like they talk about the Force, and it's real, you know, like whatever you want to call it, that energy that connects everything together. You know, there's literally something that connects all life, and when I say life, I'm talking about whether it's a sentient being like me and you, or a plant like this plant that I have right here, and I knocked that out. um, I think we've lost touch with our spiritual nature, like you said. I think we're somebody said it great whenever they said that we're a species with amnesia. I can't remember who said that, but I think like I mentioned earlier, and once again, I don't want to get too deep into like conspiracy stuff, but I believe that there are shadowy figures that have tried to keep people in fear and in control, and I think that's why I don't think that religions were ever supposed to divide and put people into fear. I think they're supposed to unite people and bring people together, and it kind of got turned to more like a government to keep people divided and in fear. And I don't know, one thing that keeps coming back to my mind, and I've got Native American ancestry, and I think you've got Native American in you as well, don't you, Spooky?
I have on my mother's side Cherokee, Cherokee Indian, and on my father's side Aztec Indian.
Graham Hancock. Thank you, Michigan. Yeah, but it was Graham Hancock said we're a species with amnesia. Some people call that a universal vibration that moves through it. Yes, it's totally real. There was actually like a scientific term that I heard earlier, and it's real similar to like what they talk about as far as the energy that connects all things. But I really think and Carol said so much is gone and went with it. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I don't even think there's very many full-blooded Native Americans left. But I will say this: I think this country, I love America. Once again, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but
Yeah.
it's obvious that whenever or before settlers got here, the natives. And this is, where you're talking about any culture, with native people, they were very deep and connected to their spiritual nature, and I feel like people came here and set up governments and they just wanted to, that's why there's like the 1% that is richer than everybody else in the world. And something that came to me earlier, I wonder why is it that they say 1% of the population has more money than everybody else, but then they also say that it's about 1% of the population that are experiences. Have you ever thought about that? That's just something that crossed my mind earlier.
I have not
But
thought about it, but that is interesting.
that just hit my mind right before we started this podcast earlier. But
Yeah.
I feel like there's a presence here in this country, a spiritual presence, and maybe it's linked back to the natives that came here. Maybe it's linked to the native ancestry of everybody who's came, to this
I think
country
that
from every other
there
country.
I think that there's many people that are descendants of Native Americans in this country. I mean, whether, you're a quarter, whether you're an eighth, or whether you're a 50%, you have that blood running through your veins, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
as a somebody that has that, I believe that that spirituality is running through your veins as well.
yeah,
That need to for more than this way of living that we do right now in this society. We need to reconnect spiritually, and we need to reconnect to our place in connection with the living earth and with the living stars and the cosmos. It's simple as that. I mean, we are
yeah,
being forced into it, whether we like it or not.
yeah. That's exactly what I was getting at whenever I said earlier. I feel like, whether people want to call it paranormal or spiritual, whatever, there's a greater, presence that's it's interfering right now, and I think it's trying to do this. It's not trying it; it's definitely doing. It. And I think those shadowy figures, whatever you want to label them as, I kind of feel like they're kind of in a panic state right now, to be honest, because there's obviously some kind of great awakening, ascension, whatever. That's the whole name of this segment, is shifting paradigms. That's why we started this. There's something happening right now. Even the people who aren't into, more paranormal or supernatural, whatever you want to call it, and you know, people who are religious, they whether they believe it or look at it this way or not, the things that they talk about in the religions, it's paranormal or supernatural, however you want to look at it. And I feel like there's just this great awakening that's happening right now in
Yep.
our culture and our community, and as well as like the younger generation right now. And it's happening at such a fast rate, like what he was saying earlier with a disclosure. Um, I think that's why it's happening. Pretty much is because we're getting so disconnected from that side of us. And
And
I
you were
go ahead.
talking about people that you were talking about how there's some people that are seeing, orbs or beings or lights in the sky. You know, a while back, probably one time, sometime last year, I think it was like around the summertime. I received information, if you want to call it. I Some people call it downloads, but I
Hmm.
came to understand that what I had been experiencing for many years of my life was soon going to be something that I wasn't going to be alone anymore with it. That there were
It's
going to be
awesome.
massive numbers of people more,
And it's
so many
happening
more
right now.
people. Yeah.
How long ago was this that you got this download or this information?
Well, I've already said it on another, I think Chad's podcast, that when the pandemic hit and the governor here in California shut down our state, my life, like everybody's, but major change in the way that my life went. I
Yeah,
couldn't believe it. But the reason I bring it up is because then had a lot of time being here at home, to where I started this new routine rather than, driving to LA. And I used to, me and my daughter, we would spend hours and days in studios working, writing songs, and, working with different producers, and, meetings with record labels, and different people in LA. And all that lifestyle changed. Boom, I was here at home, and I started making a regular routine of going back here in my garden, and I started my morning meditations first thing when I would wake up. And it was unbelievable how information, messages, if you want to call it, downloads, were
Right.
coming more and more like never before. Maybe it was because I had more time to really put into my meditations, but it was also the time that, surprise, surprise, orbs, lights in the sky just were anytime I
Right.
would go out. I mean, it was very, very. That's why I identify so much with Chris Bledsoe, because it's very, very similar.
Right. Yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you and Chad Smith and some other people in the chat right now. They know this. I've told you this. Chris Bledsoe gave me permission to say this. The
Yeah.
people like me and you that are sharing this stuff, and it's happening at such a fast rate. I mean, look at how many podcasts people are just like coming out now and more comfortable to talk about things like this. Chris told me specifically that he got this information that what we're doing right now. And whenever he said this, he said, Josh, he's talking about Ryan, with his podcast, Bledsoe Said So. He said just Ben and Joe from UFO Garage, just all these podcasts. He said what we're doing right now is making little ripples now that are going to have huge effects in the future. And he said some other words there that I don't want to say right now because I don't want to say it the wrong way, but you know what I'm
No.
saying.
Yep.
But he really he said that there's going to be a big responsibility, or he said right now there's a big responsibility that we're not aware of, and he said that not to let it intimidate us, but he said what we're doing, just sharing this, just connecting with each other, that is having a huge effect, or that's going to have a huge effect. And I'm sure it already is right now.
And
I
I
know
can't,
it is.
I can't
Mhm.
tell him, enough how much I appreciate him telling that, and allowing us to share that message with other podcasters and YouTubers, because Chris obviously has a very strong connection to the spirit that it's, all around his house, and the orbs, and for him to be able to share that information with us, it's just a catalyst for us to just keep doing it, keep going, and just keep talking. That's why when you said, should we get together and just do a chat, I think we should be doing this all the time. More people, let's not make it
Definitely.
so formal, and let's just go on and just talk about it.
I love what Enzo said right here. The more talking about it, the more normalized it becomes in casual
Exactly.
conversation amongst everybody. That's so profound. I just love that. I want to get up here to something before I forget about it. That hold on real quick, Chad Smith. There we go. We've left our mark. Yeah, definitely, man. Awesome. Um,
Great.
Michigan. Wayne said something up here, and this is a little bit more on the uh I want to. Everybody's gonna have their opinion on it, but or no, it's actually Wes. Okay, Wes H. I think we as humanity, oh no, sorry, that's not it, but I do want to read this. I think we as humanity got hung up on scientism and materialism. We stopped evolving as spiritual beings. We have a little catching up. Yeah, that's great. So I didn't even mean to click that, but I'm glad that I did. I totally agree, Wes H. And
So do I.
this is what I was looking for right here. Now, this is going to be a little controversial, people, but thinking about a more spiritual future, what do you guys think about a push to merge humans with technology, singularity, human and machines become one?
The first thing that
I'm
comes to my
opinion on
mind
that.
is
I want you to.
first thing that comes to my mind is what I already know that you're talking, that what you're researching right now, and that is the kids at the Zimbabwe school, Ariel school.
Zimbabwe. Right, exactly. Yeah, you saw the post that I put on Facebook yesterday about that, didn't you? With the footage from those kids. Yeah, you left a comment on that, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
it's freaky, but at the same time, there's a clear message there. I
it's
mean,
my favorite case.
me too. Yep, same here. So
If it
go
hadn't
ahead, stop
had,
me too.
if it hadn't been John Mack, um, Harvard professor, doctor, Nobel Prize winner. I mean, if it hadn't been for him and his dedication to that case, and the way that he interviewed those children, those innocent little kids, man, that
Right.
that was a smoking gun for me.
Yep, me too. Same here. That was the first. So when I first had my orb experiences at the Bledsoes, I was still on the fence about whether I believed any of this or not. And or no, I'm sorry, this was right before I had that experience over there. But it was that movie, The Phenomenon. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
The end of that movie, I think it's like the last 30 minutes, is just so compelling, and they show a lot of footage. I mean, you can tell. I mean, actors don't act that well. You know, kids don't lie that good. They don't lie organizing groups like that. All these kids are saying the same thing. You can
Yeah.
look, you can see those
These are
kids'
little
eyes. I mean,
these are country kids, man. They're out there in the middle of
mhm,
the, nowhere,
yeah.
and they were not lying. I mean, I'd bet everything that on that.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you could see just the shock factor. Those kids are still in shock. You could tell. And the really compelling thing for me was on that film when they show them as kids and then they show them now as adults, all getting back together. They still have that shock on. I mean, you could still tell they're still just. There's one girl specifically, the blonde-headed girl. Cannot remember her name. And I actually spoke to her just recently on Facebook. I'm actually hoping to get her on the channel, and I shouldn't even said that because I don't want to jinx it, but
You
praying she
spoke to
keeps
one of
coming
the
across.
you spoke to the little girl from the aerial
Um,
school, Zimbabwe
yes,
school?
one of them. I cannot remember her name right now. I can't guarantee she's going to come on here, but I have her on Facebook. I'm trying my hardest to get her on here right now. But
I know
she
that
said,
that one guy. I want to before you change the subject. I want to tell you that
yeah,
I know that that guy, Vinny from
yeah,
I forget his podcast, Disclosure or
disclosure
something.
team, disclosure
Yeah.
team.
So he had one of the not kids from the school, but one of the
Teachers.
videographers. No,
Oh, okay.
one of the film crew that went there and worked with the UFO expert from that area. I forget the names, but it might be worth checking with Vinny to get that guy's contact information because he told a great story too.
I think he was with Preston Dennett. Is he the one that was describing the way that they were moving and that it was kind of like they were skipping through time a little bit, like almost like they weren't. It's weird. Whenever he was talking about, it's almost like an apparition type thing. Like they were walking, but they weren't really walking. It's like they were kind of like bouncing and skipping. It was really weird. I'm trying to. I don't know if
Whoa.
this thing
I,
you're talking about. If
no,
you watch
that's
a,
not that.
sorry, go ahead.
That's not exactly. I don't think that's the same guy. This guy was more involved with filming, like John Mack and the
Oh, okay.
yeah. But it was great to hear his perspective on what he saw, and of course, Vinny asked him if he believed him, if he believed the kids, and of course, he did. Of
All right. And John Mack was a skeptic. Whenever that's what made him believe was
course,
go
man,
because I mean this guy he's a
the guy's one of the
professional.
most brilliant minds of our generations.
Yeah, and rest in peace, John Mack. And
Yep.
I don't want to get into my thoughts about the way that he died because I think it's a little fishy, and especially since there was. I just said I wasn't going to, but I'm saying anyways. But
Well,
I don't know if your lawyer
I can tell
feels
you for sure he was not treated well by Harvard at the end at all.
well, and I don't want to stay on this subject because this is conspiracy stuff, but there was, I think, like at least one or two other people that were also named John Mack that died that same day in that country, and to me, that's really fishy. And I don't want to, I'm not getting on any. I'm sorry, I shouldn't even brought that up, but rest in peace, John Mack. I'm gonna leave it there. But he was, what I'm getting at is he was a skeptic before he went there, and this is a guy he was trained at Harvard, right? I mean,
Yep.
this
Oh
guy
yeah,
didn't.
he created the psychology division of Harvard. He's like the main psychiatry of Harvard.
Exactly. Yeah. And, interviewing these kids, that's what made him, believe this. Cause I mean, he's trying to do is he sees these kids. In that video that I posted yesterday, he straight up says that, he knows when people are being honest, when they're being
Exactly.
dishonest, even if he's not 100%, but to see all these kids, over 60 kids, and not just that, but he said he could even tell these kids that they were cautious about what they were saying because they were worried about the way they were going to be looked at. He was straight up saying, he could tell these kids were kind of hesitant because they thought that, he could see that fear they were going to be looked at and criticized in their
Oh,
eyes as he was speaking to
it
them.
was totally taboo back in the early 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, and the blonde-headed girl that I was speaking about earlier, and God, I cannot remember her name right now, but there's a part at the end of that film where she says, "What do I do with this information?" That's exactly what she says, and like what she was talking about is when she was talking about what they were talking about with the Earth. There was multiple ones that were saying the air would get thin and the trees would fall down and stuff like that. And I mean,
Hmm.
and the fact that like she has this information, she doesn't even know what to do with it because it's so overwhelming. But there's a clear message, and I don't believe that message was specifically for it. It was for her, but it's for her to give out to everybody else. Like that's the case for all these kids.
Imagine them
Um,
holding on to that message all these years, decades later, and they see that we didn't heed the warning. We ignored it for the most part. Imagine that
yeah,
weight on on their shoulder, on their psyche.
yeah, definitely. So I want to get back to what he I think it was Michigan that said earlier the thing about the technology. I know it's like it can be a little controversial, but I even spoke to you earlier before we got on here. Um I don't know, it's just my opinion. Once again, we're theorizing with this, but do you find it a little coincidental or too much of a coincidence that right after the Roswell stuff happened, it seems like shortly after that we got things like the internet and technology just exploded. It's like for what, like thousands of years before then, it was going at a gradual pace. And then I mean, look at like the past 100 years. So like we went from making the first airplane to getting on the moon, and those images of the Starlink stuff that you showed me earlier. I mean, it's just mind boggling. How do we make that much of a leap in that short period of time? It's what I'm trying to say is I feel like there could possibly be a connection with like reverse engineered type things. And once again, like I don't want to put names out there or anything, but when you think about like these organizations, shadowy government figures, whatever, they're trying to keep people in control, I've had this thought that keeps coming up in my mind over and over, that things like the internet and stuff like that could be the result of reverse engineer tech. And these people in positions of power, maybe they were, trying to use this and successfully, obviously, been doing it to keep people in check. Because I mean, look, we have social media. People are like glued to it. I'm thinking about how powerful this is. Like we have a phone. You can literally ask it a question, and in the blink of an eye, you've got the answer. Right? It's instant knowledge, like in the palm of your hand. But you have, I feel like there's two sides of reality. There's people that are waking up, like talking about things like what we're talking about, but then there's also people that are getting on their phone and looking at dumb stuff on TikTok all day. And I mean, I mean, to me, it's just I can't wrap my head around it really. But you get what I'm saying, right? But I feel like it kind of might have
Absolutely.
backfired on them. What I was trying to say about me and you, and like people were speaking about stuff like this. I feel like their goal was to keep people in check and control people, like keep them in the matrix, as they say.
That's
And
right.
it's backfiring a little bit because you also have people like doing what me and you were doing right now. Speaking about this kind of stuff, and that's just my opinion. What are your thoughts on that?
You can't fight the universe, man. The
Definitely.
universe happens. We are all the universe, and it ain't gonna. There's nothing you can do to stop it.
Yeah. I love what Wayne just said right here. There's a yin and yang to tech. It's a powerful tool if used correctly. Yeah, he just simplified what I was trying to say. So, see, that's my ADD. I could have said it like that. Yeah, that's great. I love that, man. There's a yin and yang. Yeah, I think that's what everything is, a yin and yang to it. But that's really awesome. Um, Chad Smith, man, I really appreciate it. I could listen to this all night. Thanks, Chad, man. We wanted to have you on here, buddy. Really, you're working right now, but Spooky knows this. We were going to try to get you on here, but and this is like a spur of the moment thing, and it was really the result of me having these weird synchronicities, like the guy I was speaking about last night, who I've known for a while. Just found out he's been having experiences. But me and Spooky were like, just let's get on here and like theorize and talk about this stuff and see what other people think about it.
Well, I know we don't have that much time, Josh, but what's the latest that's been happening over there where you live?
As far as like sightings and things, I've
Well, and
not
then the people
had.
that you're coming into contact with.
I was gonna say that's what's really been blowing up for me right now is synchronicities and meeting other experiences. It's so bizarre. Actually, Wayne from Michigan and Paranormal, he's in here right now, so he can he can back me up on this because the first person that I met in the past 2 weeks, he didn't want to show himself on camera live, but Wayne actually met him like through a live chat. We're doing a personal private chat, and Wayne was like talking to this guy with me, and he was sitting there telling us stuff that he hadn't even really wanted to think about like missing time and things and experiences that he had
Mm-hmm.
had, and sleep paralysis and waking up in his backyard and just crazy stuff. And this is the first out of these two guys I'm talking about from the past few weeks who I've met and known for a long time, and well, I mean, somewhat long time, but had no idea that they had had some kind of experiences. And like
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, I guess they feel a little comfortable around me. And I'll be honest, I kind of start fishing for information a little bit, and I just find out this stuff. I'm like, holy shit! Like there's people I know that are going through some of this stuff that, whether you want to call it paranormal or apparitions or a spiritual experience, whatever. It's one of the
Mm-hmm.
reasons I don't really understand why there's a divide between and once again I don't want to offend anybody, but whenever people are talking about religion, they're talking about like miracles in religion or anything like just anything out of any religion that's out of this world. Whether you're talking about somebody being healed or walking on water or anything. Why is there such a big stigma difference between that and the kind of things that we talk about with our guest on here? I don't
Yeah.
know. What's your opinion on that?
I just, it's something that I've been thinking about a lot lately is about all the infighting on UFO Twitter and, the podcasts. And, you can't give your opinion without somebody getting all upset and, taking it personally and, starting UFO drama. I
Yeah,
mean, I think that people just have these safeguards that they put up because they don't want anything to challenge what they've known all their lives. It's threatening. It's something that challenges, their religion, their spirituality, their everything they've
yeah,
known since they were born, really. Unless they've,
yeah,
explored different, aspects or of that. But I kind of feel for people that are not at the place in their consciousness yet to where they have the ability to open up their minds for the unknown, the things that most can't see. I do feel for them, but that's why I try to you know I know a lot of people say all I talk about is meditation, but even if you don't want to start meditation yourself and make it a practice like a lot of people do, at least I would encourage people to start looking inside yourself
yeah.
and start really thinking deeply about these issues. And I think once you do that and try to block out all the other, that's why I told Chad, when I talk about meditation with people, it's all about blocking out the outside noise so that it's just you and you can focus on what's in here, because there's a lot in here. This
You
is
know,
your ticket right here.
your
Trust me.
universe, at the beginning of universe, like your universe, that's, I don't know, that's just something that sticks
That's
out to me.
wild that you said that. I was
Yeah.
just gonna the other day I was writing some stuff down, and at the top of it I put, "What's the first word in universe?"
Really,
It's
I was thinking that
you.
too.
Well, it's of course
That's
it's a letter, but I mean it's also a word.
right. Yeah, definitely.
That's us, man.
What's up, Connor? Yeah, man, totally. And I meant to bring this up earlier, and once again, my damn AD always kicks in. When I was talking about earlier about like bridging the gap between like the science and the spirit and stuff. When I say spiritual, I mean energy. And I know you're aware of this, but if you looking at science or quantum physics, really everything is energy. Literally even something solid like the chair that I'm sitting on. I've used
I
this
mean,
what I'm about to say to you before, like what is it? Albert Einstein, his the law of conservation of energy states nothing can be created or destroyed, only turn into another form of energy. So you have something solid like this wooden chair that I'm sitting on. If you set it on fire, you're not destroying it from the universe. You're raising its frequency, the vibration, and it's turning the heat, and it rises. It can mix with
that's
the
right.
water molecules in the clouds and turn the rain and go come down to the earth and grow into a tree, make another chair out of that, or it produces oxygen or a fruit, and like it becomes connected to all of us. That's just the way that I start looking at things. it's like what they talk about in the fucking Lion King. It's the circle of life shit, you know. But really, and I think about so like consciousness. If it's a vibration, right? It's obviously and you know, if you look at things like astral projection or out of body experiences or NDEs, that makes it become really evident to me that your consciousness is not inside of your body. Your body's more like an antenna, you know, for your conscious. But it has an effect, you know, that could change the physiology of your body. If you have negative thoughts, you have a lower frequency, you get sick easier. It feels like time is moving by slower. You have less drive. You know, it like literally changes you. And if it's the opposite, if you have high vibrational frequency, feels like time is moving by quicker. It feels like you trust your own intuition more. You know, like you just go with the flow more. And you know, like what I'm trying to get at here is if you have this frequency, this consciousness, this invisible frequency, you can't see it or touch it, but you know that it's there. Whenever you die and your physical body is going to go to the earth and go through that whole cycle of life, then where does that invisible, self-aware, conscious frequency go? That you know, this body, this antenna
Man,
is
Josh, you are
holding.
right. You are right there with me, man. I can't believe it. I wish I could share with you my Instagram story. Uh, the post on my Instagram story today. It says it's a picture of the universe, of course, and a rainbow. And then on the top it says, I'm looking at it right now. It says, "We are leaving the age of material." And then down on the bottom it says, "And entering the age of frequency." It's
That's
crazy that
awesome, man.
you're saying the same thing, man.
That's awesome, man. And I think it was Ryan Bledsoe actually just pointed something out to me. I was listening to his podcast the other day. You mentioned rainbows. Um, isn't there like what like seven colors in a rainbow? There's seven chakras in the body, and I'm kind of like I'm not like too up to date on the whole chakra thing, but to me that's really I don't know, that's something, you know, that's
Got
wild.
to get those chakras in line, man.
Yeah.
You know why,
But
right?
what's that?
Because then you'll be wearing the crown. The crown's right here.
Um,
And when
the
you have the
crown chakra.
crown,
Okay, yeah. I never
when
thought
you
about
got the
that. Yeah.
when you got your crown on, you got the antenna. You got the
Oh
antenna to
man.
everything else.
Oh man, that's all. I'm sorry. You just. Oh man, my mind just went on overload when he said it. I never. I've heard that phrase used before too. Crown chakra. I just never thought about it like that. Wow, that's.
The best part. Once you got your chakras in
I got.
alignment,
I got.
and you
I'll be
are
honest. My hair is all stood up when he said it. Sorry. Go ahead.
this is our spiritual side, man. That's why I try to tell people you are powerful. You are so much more powerful than you know. And you possess so many abilities. But we're just so fucking, you know, uh, handcuffed away from being able to explore, you know, the spiritual side and I sometimes I just wish so badly that I could get people to understand how much power you have and to go inside your mind and find so many answers to what you're looking for. It's hard to explain to
Yeah,
people. That's
you
where I
can't really
struggle
put
with
it
the
in no words.
most.
I get what you're saying. What Cassie has said, or because to be honest, I just got the same rush and my hair stood up just reading this. Okay, it's so simple. But she said we were born naked. I'm pretty sure this is what she meant. You know, like in the Bible when they say, you know, Adam and Eve, they're born without the clothes, and then and I never really thought about it till now. Like this, you know, what did it say like that? They were given, they realized that they were unclothed pretty much when the serpent talked to them. Like now, just reading this and because of what me and you're talking about, I'm thinking about materialism, and like it's not something I ever linked together until just now. I mean, man, that's why I'm so glad that we got on here and we're talking about this stuff. And by the way, people in the chat, if anybody wants to jump on here, because I know Spooky's going to have to leave here soon. I
Yeah.
can keep the show going, you know, for a little bit. I'd love to have somebody jump on here, you know, talk about this kind of stuff. That's the whole point of this. But
Well,
and thank you everybody for being here.
if you're gonna stay on, I just need like 5-10 minutes, and then I can come back for, you know, a little bit longer.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I can't go
Okay.
too long because I have company over here waiting right now, and
I mean, I'll be
I
back in like
definitely I'd
five.
like to stay on
I'll
for a
be
little
back
bit.
in like 5 minutes.
Okay. Did you want to
Okay.
go ahead and take care of that? I can answer some
Yeah.
questions in the chat while you're doing
Yeah.
that.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you everybody in the chat. I'm surprised there's even this many people in here right now. To be honest, 'cause it's a spur of the moment kind of thing. And God, y'all are saying stuff right now that's just triggering things in my head, and that's the whole reason that me and Spooky were talking about doing this is just to kind of bounce ideas off of each other because I feel like we're all just puzzle pieces trying to figure this all out together, and I think the more that we speak to each other and get this information out and theorize with each other, the more that we're gonna have experiences or these thoughts and these ideas to change us. And whether you think something is real or not, it doesn't change the effect that it has on you. Like whether if somebody has, what I'm trying to say is if somebody has like a paranormal or spiritual or supernatural experience, whatever you want to call it, why does it make it any less real if it has an effect on that person that changes them for the rest of their life? It's there's a reality to it. It's like a placebo. Me and I don't know if Wayne is still in here from Michigan, UFO and Paranormal. We were speaking about this the other day. It's like a placebo effect. It's not what you think it is, possibly, but whether it is or it's not, it still has an effect on your body or on your life. Sorry. Thank you, everybody in the chat, by the way. Michigan, yeah, that's yeah, you're the one that point out the whole placebo thing to me. And it's so synchronistic you said that because I have a book from Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's called You Are the Placebo, and it's awesome. It talks about a lot of this kind of stuff. Um, I'm just looking here through the chat. Like you guys are awesome. You're triggering so many thoughts in my head right now. And once again, thank you so much for being here, everybody. Does anybody have any questions or just any kind of statements or something that you want to put out right now for everybody else to see? Spooky is my spirit animal. Spooky is awesome, man. He. What's up, Chad Smith, man? Yeah, just Chad, Cassie, any of y'all? It just I want to see if any of y'all. Bruce Lipton. I love Bruce Lipton actually. Tammy, have you fact checked Bruce Lipton? I'm not like super familiar on Bruce Lipton, but I got introduced to him because of Dr. Joe Dispenza, by the way. And I just know like as far as like a lot of metaphysical stuff, and I'm really glad that we're doing this because I don't just specifically want to talk about paranormal experiences like I mean, I love the guests and the things that we've been talking about on here, but I also want to talk about this more conscious space, metaphysical aspects of reality and the shift that's going on in the world right now. Chad Smith, how's the workout routine go? It's going good. I'm still kind of not 100% into it like I want to get, but I'm getting there definitely. Just been trying to fight the stress, but like they said, struggle is nature's way of strengthening, and I'm just doing my best right now to stick to it. I appreciate you asking, kind of motivating me a little bit. Definitely, Chad, coming here in April, and I hope Spooky's going to get here too. And yeah, hopefully go visit Bledsoe's, man. I want to say, Chad Smith, since you put this thought in my head about just asking about the workout routine, and because I have had a lot of stress in my life here. I don't want to get into personal stuff, but I've told you this before, by the way, buddy. When I spoke earlier about being on a higher frequency and a lower frequency, I feel like these obstacles that we come through in our life, they're whatever way you want to look at it, it's a ripple that's caused by another person or an event or something. And whenever we encounter that ripple, whether we're on a high frequency or a low frequency, it's when we're on a high frequency, I feel like we're kind of like a stream, is the way I look at it metaphorically. And it's like we go through it smoother, where if we're on a low frequency, if there are like rocks in this stream or this river and we're crashing like rapids, pretty much is what I'm trying to say. And what I'm saying right now is just kind of like the thoughts, the way that I, I put in the image in my head is what I'm trying to say. Are we camping or is it too cold? April, it'll be warmer in April, by the way, Chad. I want to hear you guys are awesome right now. I'm trying to keep up with the chat right now. I'm honestly didn't expect really anybody being here because it's so spur of the moment. And once again, if anybody wants to jump in, I know Spooky's going to be back, but just let me know and I'll drop you a link. I I want to get onto something. I was waiting for Spooky to say this, but I don't know exactly how long he's going to be on, how long he's going to be gone. And if Josh have me, I will. Chris Holmes, you like to come in? Um, honestly, I've never dropped a Link live. I'm still getting used to all this, guys. But give me just or whenever Spooky is back, I know he knows how to do it. I don't want to accidentally kick myself off of here, but I'll definitely drop you a link to get in here, Chris. Um, I want to say this because I can't be on here too long. I do have company over right now, waiting in the living room. So I was listening to God, what's his name? Communion. The guy who wrote Communion. I said his name earlier. If anybody in the chat can help me out. Um, Strieber, Whitley Strieber. His wife, who is deceased now, 1111, awesome man. Um, so Whitley Strieber's wife, I think her name is it might be Anne. I can't remember right now, and she's
Yeah,
deceased. But oh, what's up, buddy? I'm glad you got here,
so,
man. I can't be on here too much longer. I have company waiting right now. So I was
same.
bringing
I
up
don't.
Whitley. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I can't stay much longer either, but yeah, Willie Strieber, that was another amazing case.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Spooky, I'm sorry to ask you this. I don't want to actually kick myself off. I'm still figuring out a lot of this stuff. Chris Holmes wanted to jump in the chat. If do you know how to drop him a link by any chance? Once again, I can't be on here too long, but I don't want to click invite. I don't know.
I
I
mean,
don't
if it
know,
was
Chris.
me, if it was me, I would copy the address in the bar up on top,
Yeah,
the URL.
yeah.
I would
I'll
just
just
copy
figure it
that
out
and
next
paste it.
time. Sorry.
But
Yeah.
it sounds to me like like you're probably about ready to end the show, which I think has been good because it's been about an hour. I think it's been awesome. You know, maybe
Guys,
we
phone
just make
by.
plans
Yeah.
to do it again.
Yeah, and Chris Holmes, I'll definitely have you on next time. I'm sorry, I'm just still figuring out a lot of this thing, and but I need to upgrade my plan on StreamYard anyway, so I can get some of this stuff figured out. But I like to end this on the Whitley Strieber thing. That's okay. Hear your thoughts on this. You said something earlier that is really synchronistic because it. I don't know if you saw it. I posted something about I didn't know until last night listening to Whitley Strieber that he he says he's still in connection with his deceased wife. I think her name was Anne. Is that right?
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember. So she said a really simple, but profound quote that all that everybody has is themselves. And you were talking earlier about like universe, like you looking inside of yourself. That's exactly what came to my mind whenever you said that. And even
Yeah,
if
man.
I think if you look at any religion, like there's stuff that goes straight to that. Like it's always been my favorite quote from the Bible, and I'm not even what you would call like a modern Christian, even though I think there's truth in all religions really. But my favorite quote from the Bible or line has always been Luke, Luke 17:21. I might be off on that. My head's going everywhere. But it's the kingdom of heaven is not in one man or group of men; it's within all of man. Um,
Oh yeah,
to
that's
me,
awesome.
that's
That is so on
yeah.
point too.
Um, yeah, I'm sorry, guys. We are gonna have to cut this short, but Spooky, you want to end this out on anything, or is there anything you want to say to everybody before we get out of here, man?
I just want to thank everybody for coming on and hanging out with us. We did not plan this, but maybe 2 hours
Totally.
ago, so
Yeah,
it
and
means a whole lot. And, this is our family, anyways, Josh. So I'm not actually shocked that they showed up. I'm just so appreciative.
I kind of am because I know there's other podcasts going on right now that a lot of our community goes to. So I didn't know if anybody was going to jump on here. I thought maybe people would check it out later. But yeah, thank you everybody that's in the chat right now.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
thank you guys so
Um,
much.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, like man, Chad Smith, you too, brother, man. I can't wait to see you in April. And man, Spooky, you know if you might be able to get down here in April, and I'd like to get some of the other guys out here too, man. Guys and girls.
If that happens, get ready to do a huge group meditation.
Oh, Chad Smith is saying that he's not backing out. I don't know if he's already got his plane tickets or what, but he's like, I didn't know if he
No,
was serious at
first of
first.
all, Chad Smith doesn't fly.
Oh, okay, drop.
But
Man, that might be a
he
long
says
trip.
he's
Yeah.
definitely going to be driving down. So, and I think he's coming with Big Willie.
Oh, is he? I didn't know that. I spoke to Big Willie. I mentioned something to Big Willie the other day, and what I told you guys earlier about Chris Blitzer, and I need to make sure. And even if something happens and Chris is busy, because I know he's got a lot going on, they're about to start working on a fucking Hollywood film for his story. I think this year, but he's got stuff going on I can't even talk about. But even if we can't get into contact with him, I'd still have a blast just hanging out with you guys. But he did tell me, like if he's available, we can go over there. His words, cook some hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill or whatever, and have a good time and do some sky watching. I mean, and just talk.
That would be
I
a
mean, that's
dream.
I didn't even ask him. He told me that. And I mentioned Ben and
That'd be
Joe
amazing.
and you and Chad Smith because I think he recognized you from a comment on some of this stuff. Spooky and Chad. He definitely recognized Chad Smith's name. I know that. But
Awesome.
yeah, he said to go over there and hang out, man. He's such a humble guy, and
Yeah.
just like Terry Lovelace, man. Terry Lovelace is awesome. I've been speaking to Terry privately since I had him on the other day.
Oh,
He's
nice.
awesome, man.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of these experiences that I mean everybody I've been meeting in this community, man. It's like you said, it's family, man.
Right on, brother.
Um, I, I do want to mention before getting out here, and thank you everybody. Uh, uh, the 14th, I believe, Valentine's Day actually. Barbara Jean Lindsay is coming on, and the 22nd. And I asked you earlier if you wanted to co-host this spooky. I'm still shocked, and it's really surreal. But I've got Kathleen Martin, the fucking grand niece, is it, of Betty and
Yeah.
Barney Hill. Like I can't speak in it just coming out of my mouth. I'm just like shocked I even got her connected.
It's
Uh,
really amazing, man.
it's
This was meant to
surreal.
happen.
Yeah, and what's really
No
crazy,
doubt.
I was watching a movie yesterday, and Betty and Barney Hill popped up in the movie, and I was just like, I had to pause the movie. I'm like, holy shit! Like their niece is coming on my show. Like
It's wild. It's
it's
wild,
awesome,
but it's
man. It's
we're
thank
all
you everybody,
connected.
dude, man. Yeah, I can't. I'm so grateful to all of y'all, man. I never even planned to be doing any of this. It's because of like you and the people in the chat. I'm doing this. Yeah.
Support, man. We're
I guess.
supporting each other.
Yeah, definitely. I guess it's a good way to
Please,
end this out. We'll go
the
ahead
only
and end
the
that
only
one.
thing I would ask the only I'm sorry, Josh, to interrupt you. The only thing I would
Uh,
ask is just everybody that's in here already is probably going to be there anyways. But if there's anybody here that's new, check out Chad Smith podcast on Tuesday morning,
and
10 o'clock
Paranormal Chop
Eastern
Shop.
time. Yep,
Yep. Yeah. Sorry, I'm glad you said that because I meant to remind you
Paranormal
because
Chop
you're
Shop
on.
on Friday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific.
I was gonna say you've been on the Chop Shop a lot here lately, haven't you?
Oh yeah, those are my
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah. I get on both of those channels here and there as well whenever I can. Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Yeah, check out Chad Smith's and the Paranormal Chop Shop. And Chad's on what every
UF,
Tuesday and Thursday.
UFO Garage Thursday
Oh,
nights and Tuesday
definitely.
nights.
Oh yeah.
Chad Smith.
Yeah, we're all connected, man. You brought up Marvel earlier. I keep joking and saying that we're this community kind of reminds me of the Marvel movies, how we're all like crisscrossing and cross pollinating with each other. But yeah, thank you
Right.
everybody so much in the chat. And go ahead and end this out because I have some company here. And I know you got to take care of some stuff. But Spooky, I'm so glad you came on, man. This is awesome. And it flew by so
Me too,
fast.
brother.
All right, I'll talk to you later,
You guys
man.
have a good
Everybody
night.
in the chat, thanks for coming in, guys.
Love you all.